Try the video though. Just so that all the.
Okay. And so we're live.
I know, I want to get yourself ready.
Now I know. I'm so sure. You can join us. You know, you are a quasi type of, so you really should.
Thanks, Senator.
Yes, we would like you to join
Yeah.
us. Please join us.
Huh?
I might bite, so if you want to sit between Mike and Kevin.
Yeah. Give us a little contrast between those, you know?
So you tell smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beard too. Got the beard going on here.
Don't you think she should be sitting in the last pew there?
And the what?
Last pew?
Oh.
When she speaks?
All the way.
I'm so sorry, Bob, you put me on. No, okay. Sorry. All right, call to order. Okay, roll call. Craig Evanson. Mike Huggins, here. Gary Hines.
Here.
Mariah George. Gary Hagerman. Lauren Brugard.
Work hard.
Brugard.
Work hard.
Beauregard.
Four.
Well, you can hear or not.
Here.
And continue on, there's more of us
Oh,
that
yeah.
we have not recognized yet.
Oh, yes,
Mr.
Mary
Vice
Smith.
Chair. Here,
Our selectman.
and, keep going.
Paul Boat. Here. Kevin Parrott.
Here.
I felt like there's a lot more people here than I read off that first list there. Just build a presence. Okay, the Town of Georgetown Business Promotion Commission is an appointed board that enhances the economic climate in Georgetown, Colorado through marketing, events, and community outreach. The commission's goals are to support business license holders and nonprofit organizations to operate successfully and to create a positive experience for visitors.
Here.
Okay, agenda approval. Everyone received an email prior to the meeting.
Do we have something we're adding? I'd like to add just a holiday decoration discussion.
Okay,
Which holiday?
Well, when we get to the discussion, we'll discuss those things. Wow. Ooh.
May Day.
is it about my Christmas tree being so much?
Oh. Oh,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So you have a second? Second. All, discussion? All in favor? Aye. It's camp, everyone. Not sure if you're way. What's up?
We get to the discussion and that's when we discuss it. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Mr.
rule
Commissioner.
follower. Hey,
Yeah.
you down there, Mr.
I'm leaving.
Sergeant at Arms, sir.
Audience business. This is the time that anyone in the audience, they wanna speak, there's more free to do so. They'll have 5 minutes, yet no decisions can be made. And that includes any of us too, so if there's anything you wanna talk that's not on the agenda, bring to our attention.
Should we pull up though the chat part just in case somebody joins us
Yes.
tries to join us and they're like.
Naked.
Well, because everyone's here.
See? Too bad Franklin's signing.
That's right.
Okay, welcome business owners and operators. Does anyone know of any new businesses that have opened up recently or about to open up?
Paul, did you want to mention the outpost?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because it's not. About to open, so. Go ahead.
So the Gateway Visitor Center, I think I mentioned this last week, but the Gateway Visitor Center is doing an adjunct business program over at Mahaney, which is at Seventh and Taos. It's basically just an extension of the main visitor center, so gifts and information for people.
To be staffed.
Yeah, that's the issue right now. So that's why we're not quite open, but we've opened for one day during Christmas market and then 2 days, I guess, and then 3 days. But staffing's been a challenge, so I'm getting it, working on it, and then we'll staff it out.
But your intent is at least on weekends, or
Every Friday, yeah, Saturday and Sundays.
are you
to start.
hiring for that, or are you just trying
I'm
to?
not hiring yet.
Okay,
I'm trying to figure out the schedules, but then I have some family emergencies that I've been dealing with, so that's why. And then we have internet issue, it's a whole thing.
a whole conundrum,
But soon, very soon. I'm trying for this weekend, but I don't think it's gonna
and
happen.
it's called the,
Again, Gateway Outpost.
I love the name, that's why I wanted you to say it.
Yeah, and use standard hours, 10 to 5. That was Trish, that's Trish's name. Yes, thank you for that.
I suppose I can also mention the addition to the coffee shop. Now we have Nordic ski rentals and snowshoe rentals. We may have snow on the way, so we may actually be able to send people out. We also have outdoor retail and clothing, gifts, things like that. So come check it out. We're to see those.
Is it all umbrella under the same name,
It
or
is.
are you?
Yeah, so it'll be
Okay.
called Narrabisa and then Narrabisa.
Okay,
There's some cool stuff in there that I would, yeah.
It will be changing with the seasons too, so it won't be ski all year, it'll be camping, climbing, that sort of thing in the summer.
For the North Skis, where would you recommend someone use those?
Up Winella is where we're sending people just past the gate closure, we checked, there's 8 inches past the gate closure.
Actually,
right?
okay, cool.
Yeah, so right on the road, you can just be right on the road.
Okay,
There's a few other spots, but they're just kind of gravelly right now. so not
yeah,
something
where
we-
sporting time is and all that,
Yes,
yep,
but stay tuned. The
yes,
weather
stay
is
tuned,
changing.
stay tuned, and we're working on maps too, so when I have those, I'll bring those to share.
awesome, that's super exciting.
On top of vanilla is an avalanche zones, just. Right, be aware of that, and it's also ptarmigan habitat.
Yes, that's why we're definitely not sending folks up Naylor either, so if you hear people headed up that way, it's not an avalanche chute, it's not a safe area, even though that's where the most snow is right now.
Yeah, this is why it's dangerous. They're doing to keep tabs on that Christmas ornament business that was doing a storefront.
They're coming back in May,
Okay.
Wow.
Flying Pigs.
See,
Like-
Yeah, they've kept their product over there and they'll be
Oh,
back
really?
in May. I'm not
Okay.
quite sure what date.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, minutes approval.
I sent some corrections to the town clerk.
Can we add in, for the STR discussion, we talked a lot about not blocking off any weeks in regular leases in order to get the short-term rental approval, so just something to do with if you're using it as a long-term rental, some kind of limitation on if you can use that property for short-term rental in this capacity.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
We have a second? Second? All in favor? New and unfinished business, 2026 marketing campaign introduction.
Da, 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 da. Hello.
Good morning. Okay, so I, am gonna walk through this. Please stop me if you have questions.
Who are you from the audience?
Hello, I'm Annalee, marketing events for the town. This is kind of our first marketing campaign in my tenure, so any feedback you have, please stop me if you have questions or revisions as we go. The first portion of this is kind of just a breakdown of the campaign proposal itself with explanations, should hopefully share some purpose as to why I've structured it this way. Okay, so to start, the goal of this campaign is to connect, celebrate, and sustain community and culture, support local investment, and enhance the tourism experience through a cohesive brand message. I spent a lot of time over the last 2 months or so talking to our business owners, talking to local community members. And if there's one thing Georgetown has, is a lot of pride and passion. and a lot of differing opinions on how to help the town succeed in a marketing light. And so what I've done is I've kind of condensed all of my research and all of those opinions into three kind of main focus areas for the campaign. So the first one being business community, increasing kind of that cohesive both marketing structure, but also kind of that place of belonging for our businesses and our owners, increasing accessible resources and education to them. So part of that is increasing that communication efforts, which we'll kind of talk a little bit more in the execution portion of this campaign. From there, the town promotional structure of, consistency in our branding, consistency in how we're communicating both with residents and business owners. Formalized processes as far as both communication and structure and marketing goes. From there, we'll kind of jump down to decreasing leakage. As we know, there's people that come into town and don't spend any money. So how do we entice them to spend money at our businesses? But then how do we also bring them back? How do we, if they don't spend money on their way up, how do we motivate them to spend money in town and spend time in town on their way back down? So to start, well, first, any questions on that, any feedback? Okay. To start, I'm a big fan of metaphors, so bear with me here. Metaphors. So I love vinyls. I grew up on Bing Crosby vinyls and the Eagles vinyls, and so I've seen kind of the timelessness from my parents' generation, from my grandparents to mine. And if there's one thing is you don't mess up that needle on that vinyl. And so I envision Georgetown as that needle. It stays consistent no matter what time, no matter what sound, no matter what audience it has or the environment it's in. That needle is still relevant and it's still necessary in order for that sound. And so I envision Georgetown that way. I envision Georgetown as something that can change with time, the things around it can change with time, but it's still relevant, right? We just have to find ways to communicate that. So whether that sound that we're preaching be the historic side, or whether it be an event that we're marketing, there's different sounds, for lack of a better term, and different genres that we have to approach. And all of those come with different audiences. And so much like that needle, there's a steady pulse that we kind of have to continue on. And so that's where the consistency in my marketing campaign comes from, is that idea that you have to have that steady pulse in order for the sound to be shared and amplified. So I'd like to focus on that. I'd like to focus on that timeless aspect, but that also that experience that needle provides. So, I think we've all heard the stories of I walked 2 miles to school in the snow and stuff like that, but there's still both ways. Exactly. But we've also heard the stories of people coming together around a vinyl before, from generations past to generations now. I mean, people are still buying vinyls, right? And so regardless of the sound, that continues. And so I'd really like to focus on the feeling that provides through this campaign and using words that aren't just telling people what to feel. So when you cherish something, there's something romantic about that, right? But there's romance in everything. So whether it be in music or, how can you not be romantic about baseball? There's ways to apply that to different audiences. So I narrowed down a grouping of words that I felt like kind of focused on that, or titles, I should say, that really focused on that, cherishing that experience and living in that experience that we can apply to different areas. So whether it be community, history, all of those different areas, we can apply this campaign to each kind of subcategory, if you will. So I narrowed down, and I am open to feedback on these, but I went with Forever Georgetown as being the campaign title. The other considerations I had were Georgetown Enduring in Time, Georgetown Silvered in Time, and the Pulse of Georgetown. I also looked at the heart of Georgetown and stuff like that. I will say close communities like Golden have Heart of Golden. And so I don't want to bridge too much into those types of things. I want to be very cautious of the way that we use these words. But Forever Georgetown can be just a statement. It can be the way that you sign something, you know, if you're writing a love letter, you can write Forever Georgetown. Those types of things, and so that really enhances that feeling. In my opinion, do we have any feedback on that, any opinions on Forever Georgetown?
I like it, you know, it's the, always like trying to find things that relate to the geographic location of us, rather than the mining heritage. You know, so, I mean, campaign like this, I think it's totally appropriate to incorporate like silver or whatnot for the mining heritage, but I think food forward thinking would be more of like the access to sports and things that are relevant to people's lives. But yeah, Forever Georgetown's very neutral on that, so.
And I think to that point, you know, as we get into kind of the slogan pitch, silver moments can mean so many things to so many people, right? You know, we all, or, you know, a lot of us have jewelry that's been handed to us that's silver. Or we think of the value of that with the Olympics, so the sports and stuff like that. So, I definitely think that as we maneuver through the campaign, this is not a, you know, 3-month campaign in itself. It's meant to be kind of something that we adapt throughout. So I definitely think that as we're hosting more things like pond hockey and stuff like that, we can kind of tailor almost a tagline to that for sure.
Forever Georgetown, though, was a little bit more concise. Silver, when you think about it in print or you're saying it, I can see people stumbling over silver or it turns into sliver.
Yeah.
And then you can go off in any direction. I also think Forever Georgetown is somewhat linked to the one that we had in the past with Vintage Georgetown. So there's, you know, I mean, if we wanted to be stuck on that, which I'm not saying we want to be, but you know, it can change. So, because we didn't put a lot of, well, we did put a lot of energy into that, but it didn't sustain.
It didn't get used. In my opinion.
Silver makes me kind of AAR.
That one?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh,
I didn't,
yeah.
I feel that.
AARP, silver fox, silver moments.
Yeah.
Moments of most like
Yeah.
dementia.
Yeah.
Silver, silver
Yeah.
fox,
Second place.
Yeah.
second place. I like preparation, I do. I'm sorry, I thought you finished, Ken, I'm sorry, it's okay, but you're used to it, but, there's a balance there, because I know that we wanna go forward, as far as I'm concerned, like, go forward and talk about, like Mike was saying, the outdoor recreation, those different things, recreation stores here now. But we are in historic districts, we are in the National Historic Landmark District, and we do have vibrant businesses that rely on the National Historic Landmark District and its interpretation. Even though they're nonprofit, they're still businesses. And that is our main draw, because sometimes when people come up here, they think that one thing that I run into a lot is people want the active recreation rather than passive or on their own recreation. The zip lines, we can talk about the zip lines, the Ferris wheel, whatever you have, and we don't have that. We have the train, and then, as Mike was saying, hiking and having fun and learning about the history of the district. And that goes beyond mining. That was the mistake of when we first did it, because we weren't thinking of how old these areas were and different peoples that weren't represented necessarily when we incorporated it as a national historic landmark district. That's changed in the history of the.
Well, and I think there's something timeless to all of that, right? So, I think Kevin's a great example. I've learned a lot from him on the way that they've told their story and how we can have the same story, but tell it in a different light where it impacts people in different ways. And I think, you know, Forever Georgetown, we can always add Forever Georgetown Community, Forever Georgetown Historic District, stuff like that. That it doesn't, you know, Forever Georgetown, we can apply to so many different areas and add to, so that we're not just stagnant in that, right? As the need changes, as the receptiveness to that message changes, I think we can adjust as well.
And I think, I don't know, I'm on full of opinion, but I think that, you're honestly there, but I think with what Mike was saying. So adding to Forever Georgetown, because something that we've always done, and this is the fault of the historic areas, people like me. Or like is that it's a passive sentence.
Yeah.
And we wanna show that we're active and going forward and doing something, forever Georgetown activities, forever Georgetown hiking, forever Georgetown. Something that's an action word, because we don't have action there. And that's where you get into. Where if you're part of a national, if you're part of a nonprofit history group. Sometimes we fall into that passive rather than forward thinking and active, and that's, you know. To Kevin's point, that's what he's been doing with the Chinese stuff, is to make active words go out, and this, you know, cemetery did the same thing. You know, done now, I think.
One thing to keep in mind about, the history and preservation groups is that they provide the community stability. And so that's a strength, so whether it's seen as something active or passive, I think no one would argue that it provides community stability, so that's a component just to remind yourself of. You know, like in the case of, Hotel Paris Museum, 72 years in business. Georgetown Trust, how long, Paul?
It's not-
22,
22 years in
it's
business.
not very long, 22.
The HDI since I think 1972. So these are really things that should be recognized, held up, admired, and that's it.
Last week you get a psychiatrist to decide one down at the new place and stability, and we could do that campaign amongst the people who live here. Forever Georgetown stability.
Until you get blown away, the gentle mind of Bluefield.
Oh, and the nice one, Anderson, let's not forget, 1883. They're the winners.
Fourth generation.
But stability, but yeah, stability is a really good thing, because this is another thing that I hear a lot. Of course, I have a specific audience. But people thank us all the time for saving the place and for not allowing it to be changed, for not allowing it to be destroyed. And so stability is important to people. You know, the world's moving so fast, change happens all the time, you know, and that can be confusing for people. So having, you know, a stable community, I think always remind yourself of that.
I know it says we have a multi-generational focus for the target audience. Is there one like age range that we are missing and want to try to grab? Are we like trying to get more people in the age range we're already attracting? Definitely want it to be like understood by all generations, but I think having a more of a focus on one group can kind of help us decide where the focus is.
Yeah, I think, especially with our town demographic being more middle age, I definitely want to kind of hone in on that 20s to 30s age range. Hallmark is trendy right now, right? And so I think a lot of people, especially in that age range right now, are looking for that Hallmark feel without the pressure. And so that's really where I want to create that experience and that feeling for them. Especially the more that you see something, right? I think TikTok being such a valuable tool for that. People want that Hallmark experience and they want to see it without it being a hassle.
Yeah.
And so I think preaching that, and I would really like to focus a lot of this kind of on the Denver area, and those travel ports. Just because, you know, like the airport, light rail, those are the people who are traveling, those are the people who are using those modes of transportation, but on top of that, you know, they don't always want to fly out to go experience something. And so I think the more that we channel social media ads, and then advertising in those relevant places to them, we'll be able to bring that generation up. But I definitely want to hone in on that, I think, especially as we move into spring and summer.
Yeah, I definitely think like Denver 20 to 40, like they have disposable income. I think Denver 20 to 40 without kids is like really appealing for this area specifically. It's not the most child-friendly visitor kind of thing. So like that area, like that age range and that geographic area, I think has the money that we would like them to spend in town. And I think that the types of stores that we have also like appeal to that age range. And I think that we catch a lot of the older market already. I think they're already coming and we don't really need to target them as much. But I think that like telling people in Denver, like, I mean, I have friends that come up from Denver and they're like, oh my gosh, there's only 45 minutes to get up here and like, this is what it is. Yeah, you guys, come visit.
Well, and I think there's value too. I mean, they call us the Gilmore Girls generation, right? Every fall, everybody rewatches Gilmore Girls and stuff like that. So I think that there's trends that we can, repeating trends that we can hone in on as well.
Do we have a TikTok channel?
We do.
Yeah.
20 to 40 is 2 generations.
Yes. Sorry, 20 to 30.
I said 40 to incorporate
You said
yourself
40.
into that, yeah.
I know that.
Then that's fine, Paul.
I caught that. Yeah, you're not in that demographic.
To your point, though, the train does a great job of bringing in families with young kids.
Yes.
And brings the grandparents with them, so
Yes.
getting those, I think primarily just standing behind a coffee counter, like people that I see that their first time up here, they're falling in love with Georgetown, they really are, those younger people, like 25, just moved here from Austin. This is the first mountain town they visited, and they're just eager to get out of the city, you know. Denver's cool, but I didn't realize it's so far from the mountains, and then I stumbled into Georgetown and realized it's only a quick drive away.
Yeah, I like that, like the first mountain town you should visit. If you move to Denver, like, cause there's, you know, a lot of people in Denver transplants. So if you move to Denver, this should be the first one. that you
Absolutely.
visit.
Or it's true, I love your, you know, Denver's playground concept. Cause it is, everybody comes up here and they're like, I just need to play for the day. Or I've heard a bunch of people the last couple of weeks saying, we're just trying to escape the heat of Denver. Can you believe it? I'm like,
They come up to the heat of.
cooler up here, a little
So-
cooler.
So the statistics, I'm sorry.
Well, I was saying, like, I guess. Are we settled on Forever Georgetown, or do you wanna?
I think so. I think it's good. I think it's neutral.
Okay,
And I also, to Mary's point, I think it's a maturing of the previous branding. So there's not like this distinct break, it's a maturing. So I think the transition will go smoothly. I'm all for it.
okay, that's fine, for it. And then back to like, I think just the identity of this place, I think one of the huge assets that we do have is. Comparing us to Idaho Springs, I think we do have a little bit more access to skiing, obviously, it's closer, it's a better launch pad. That's why I want to ask more about the, cross-country skiing, which I've never done up there, snowshoe.
Let's
But
go.
I've seen plenty of cross-country skiing, you know, markings, we're gonna call it, tracks. And I would wanted to, but I never had access to the equipment, and I have enough equipment and toys. I didn't wanna buy another hobby, so, I'm really excited for that, but, I always wanted to promote those type of activities that are right here. You know, we're type biking, the access to the 14ers that we have, that we don't have, Idaho Springs.
Yeah.
Has a lot of facts, they have huge thing of mountain biking right now, and that's gonna be a big thing for them, and it's great. You know, I think here, having the ice climbing right on the highway should be promoted. Not saying that we should promote people to do it, but the fact that that is here. Cause I think a lot of people sitting in their office in Ohio, it's like, oh my, yeah, that's Colorado Stream.
Right.
You know, when they see that type of, image. And that's right here, that is right next to this town, and so, no, I love it, and I love what you're putting together here, so keep up with that.
Sorry.
No, so back to demographics and to this. There are two data showing that they're in with, especially with the shifts going, that that local staycations are the thing going on right now, and there is travel, but international travel is down by like 40%, I think. It's stronger in Colorado than it is in other states, we've left out, but with this winter, with the ski areas being where they are. So. Overnight stays are the big capture, but the day trip is the really big capture as well. But the overnight trip person spends 2-3 times the day tripper spend. They're stuck, so they're gonna spend some money and eat somewhere, and they're more likely to be bored by, I'm sorry to say bored, but they're more likely to have that leisure time to be able to go out and say, hey, I really do want that ornament, I really do wanna go to the nice United States, get some sardines, whatever they can, so that's a target. So you get those weekenders to get up here, The other thing that's really trending right now, and if you're since you're a TikToker, you know this, I know that I'm not talking, I'm just trying to. I'm not trying to teach you
You can
anything.
educate the rest of us, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I pay attention to, you know, I'm vapid, but I pay attention to data, so anyway. The other one is targeting the older demographic, that's the highest spend demographic, but that's also September through October. That is why we do so much money in September, October, because the summer guys, they're trying to get it through with their kids, and they just wanna buy trinkets. And that's where the no kid 20, the dinks, right? Come in. Then, so the day trippers, and then the other thing is, there's a huge trend because of Vail Resorts, and not to down Vail Resorts. But their monopoly has created those enormous fees, and people are starting to resent it. We have Levin right here, was still affordable and locally owned or family owned. And that's something that, even though it's 16 miles up or 13 miles up, we need to, that's a good, would be the best 12 miles. Behoove us to say how close we are, and we are the stop to get there. We are the station for Loveland skiing. And backcountry skiing, ice climbing, all that stuff is a big thing for the younger demographic. And that's something that I think we can concentrate on. The other thing that I've been trying to beat this drum for 20, however long I've lived here. Literally, if you target, and you do it subtly and don't pander it, but if you're doing a TikTok and you see a gay couple walking down the street, get them in the shot. If you see multi-ethnic or multi-generational groups in there, get them in the shot. All that people who are from marginalized groups want to see is that they are welcome, and they will spend all of their money with you. I mean, I just bought $66 worth of like sauces, like 4 sauces, because she had an inclusion pie. And I was like, I'm buying from you. I was just there to like see my friends or something, and I just was like crying that I did it. It's something that is super important and it's super big, and I will say that because I've seen it in the summer, I've seen more different groups of people and acknowledging them, and they're feeling more comfortable up here, but it is an underutilized market.
Underserved.
Well, underserved literally, but you know what I mean? That market, once people feel it, they'll throw all their money into you.
I heard 5 different languages last Saturday while I got a new scooter for Christmas and I rode through town. There were at least 5 different languages being spoken, and it was not a busy day. So I think that that's like super important to like focus on too. It's just like how diverse our visitors are, and even the people that live here, there's for, you know, Denver, mountain town kind of thing. It's a fairly diverse area. So I think that that's a great point, and I was really impressed. So like, I was in town for 10 minutes and I was like, wow, there are a lot of people speaking different languages right
Yeah, a
now.
large majority of our customers are international.
International, yeah, we're lucky there. You'd be, well, it's also just the kind of sticker, you'd be surprised how an international traveler, even though you might do the full transaction in English, if you just say thank you in their language. I can count a couple languages, but, you know, it was like, I just said the other day, and it was obviously Korean, so I was like, kamsahamnida, and they were blown away. And then they came back and bought more stuff. Just because, anyway, if you can throw that in.
Yeah, definitely.
And a few years ago, the county, somebody at the county shared that there are a lot of lesbian couples who come up here to get married at the county courthouse. And so I don't know if that's still happening or not, but that's another market. You know, they're gonna have that connection the rest of their life to this county. And so that's something to maybe talk to county folks about as well, because you know, they're coming up here for legal reasons, let's say. But Paul and I got married in Danbury, Connecticut, and even though I may never go back to Danbury, Connecticut, I'll always feel a connection to that spot.
And I will say this, the reason that we're using this is from our personal point of view, and we can see it. I lived in Fairfield County in the part of high school, and I specifically did not go to Fairfield County because they just opened a marriage up for that state. Because I was worried about the reception that we might get. And so I looked up the place that would be the most welcoming, and in Connecticut, it's maybe Connecticut, and it was Danbury, and that's why I went there. But it was just subtle stuff, like you can just see, it's all these inside groups, right? But that's because of, and just for, that's what I'm saying, it needs to be subtle, if it's, no one likes pandering. You know? So,
I love this concept though, because Georgetown is such a welcoming place as a newbie. I felt more welcome here than anywhere I've ever visited, ever. and that everyone's welcome mentality goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Um,
That's big.
sorry, to that point too, can we jump ahead to the execution? Because I would really like to focus on consistency with this and to Paul's point with, sharing diverse imagery. I would really like to look at more physical ads as opposed to focusing on digital. Studies show that people just still don't trust digital ads. You can edit them, you can alter them. There's not a great trace of them as far as, obviously we don't know, nothing really gets deleted from our phones, but people still don't trust that. It's something like 70% of people will trust a billboard over a digital ad that they see 5 times. And so I would really like to focus on the consistency of this. The question I have for y'all is, as far as logo development, stuff like that, do we want to produce almost a style guide and logo for the campaign so that we have consistency with fonts and imaging, so that as people are seeing it in multiple places, they're associating it with the same thing? Or do we feel like our resources are best spent elsewhere?
No, consistency.
Craig feels very strongly about that. That's come up time and time again, as far as our branding and the fonts and what we're, so that's just recognizable. And oh, yeah, that's Georgetown, even if you don't physically read the ad anymore.
So to that point, do we want to outsource that logo so that it stays consistent? I mean, we can kind of alter a little bit with things. Do we want to outsource that graphic design, or would we rather just make subtle changes to our current logo? To add the Forever Georgetown?
Frankly, I would like to just see.
Well, I think we already have Georgetown like logo.
And we just.
We put the tag
I can't get a copy of it, like every year I'm asking for a copy of it, that's
Like,
usable. Like, where's the style guide, where's the things in, I don't know where people have put it over the years. Cause we were all part of that when it was happening, and it's older now, but we have all
We're talking about the
those.
one with the tower.
It's the
Also,
Georgetown, the basic one, yeah.
It was a company called Slate, and they were a marketing company, and we hired them as consultants. This group hired them as consultants, and they developed the slogan and the graphics and the colors, the fonts, all that kind of stuff.
But are we saying we're sticking with that, or are we now transitioning because we're no longer vintage Georgetown, we're forever Georgetown? Are we going to either subtly or
Can we afford
not?
it?
Well, real quick, can I interject for one second? If we're looking at using this area as Georgetown in it, can we change the slogan to like Forever Alpine or Forever something else that is more descriptive other than just the name of the town? I think the sheep was the town. All right, sir.
Could we just move Georgetown down and put like forever above it?
Like Forever, we're in the bracket where the.
Yeah.
I mean, I make everything with sheep.
I mean, I think you need like a couple renderings of it, like if we're
Yeah.
going to adjust this, I think that Forever Georgetown should stay, because if you say Forever Alpine, then I'm like, is that Vale that's Forever Alpine? Like it just, or people.
Well, I'm trying to steal,
Yeah,
since we're a true European
or-
city,
right.
like European built, like I'm trying to steal the word Alpine from any other community in Copenhagen. I'm serious.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but we know that, but other people won't recognize that, and we want to focus on.
There were Chinese builders here. Yeah. And the Nordic people were only 5% of the population.
Well,
But not in modern town.
Yes.
I had a thought with this, so I'm curious if through any of these other marketing campaigns that have been done in the past, has there ever been like pillars of Georgetown that have been placed, like the 5 pillars of recreation or whatever it is, the pillars of why people come to Georgetown? Because I'm kind of like, if you're talking billboards, I'm thinking, okay, we've got this Forever Georgetown tagline, but what's the imagery? And it should be like the pillars, like the reasons why people visit Georgetown, right? Has
Yes,
that ever been created? Do we have
Yes.
something like that?
and that was when we had Slate here. We've done this multiple times, we've had multiple surveys here where we decided what the main focal points of Georgetown are. And they're supposed to be incorporated into all the advertising that we were doing on the online stuff, and Slate was doing that sort of, but that's exactly what it should be focused on, and I think that's what you're trying to do right now.
Well, like, I'm kind of thinking that because we can tie that in, like. Alpine experiences is one of the pillars, or
The architecture is
backcountry,
very
whatever
unique
it
compared to
is.
anywhere else. You know, Crestview has, you know, similar field look and feel, but nowhere in Summit County,
Well, and that's definitely one of our pillars is
yeah.
historic charm. You know, people come here to experience historic
Exactly.
charm. But then there's all the other things, so maybe that's something that we can tease out a little bit more. Figure out like, what are the 5 reasons people view Georgetown as iconic, why do they keep coming back, and why do we wanna bring more people in? And then how do we communicate that through imagery?
Economically, it would be in our favor to stick with Slate's concept and just to execute it. But I would like to hear from our professional, Anna Lee, what you think we should do at this crossroads.
I think you can build style guide and stuff like that in-house. My only outsource idea would be the logo design, just because people are far more well versed than I am. I mean, I can graphic design, but there are people with much more creative minds in that realm. I think we
And that
don't
could be
necessarily need to
affordable.
start from scratch, but I think we do build upon what we have and we take and we make it relevant to the campaign we're running now. We don't wanna walk away because we still want people to associate if they've had experiences in Georgetown before. But I think we can definitely revamp and create more consistency as far as, you know, we might stick with the same font for the main title now. But maybe we change some of those kind of sub fonts and stuff like that, but we keep them consistent throughout the entire campaign so that people are associating it with the feelings that that campaign brings them and their experiences with that. So my opinion is maybe we look at outsourcing just a logo development, but we don't outsource the entire style guide and we do kind of build from the ground up as far as the style guide and the consistency of imagery goes.
Sure. Graphic design is relatively affordable. I also know a ton of graphic designers that are affordable, being from going to art school, I know lots of people. So I think that's a good idea. I mean, the whole campaign is very expensive, but graphics alone, if you give them direction, can be pretty affordable.
Yeah.
I think we have a good base, like we wouldn't wanna change, in my opinion, we wouldn't wanna change this too much. Because people already have an association with this logo, it's like fairly striking and identifiable. So I think that like people already have an association and we don't wanna change it on them, and then they're seeing our advertisement and it's like not clicking that it's the place that they've already been.
Yeah, I definitely think we can kind of play on where we're at right now.
Yeah.
I definitely think we need the basic structure to.
Is there,
The host thing's been there since the 70s, so at least.
Yeah, we all inherited the hose building.
And so for consistency, it's become a thing.
No, it's this one.
is there a copy of that slate proposal? Like,
But that's
is
what
it-
we didn't find.
Okay,
Yeah, that was-
so it theoretically.
Have you stumbled across it yet? It's on the Google Drive somewhere.
Google.
Good, good. Yeah, I think that would be good to have a packet for everybody.
I'd love to see
I
It'd be like-
Yeah, maybe, I think right now, before we talk about making any changes, is at least just implement a standard. Because right now, that's the biggest frustration, is you go everywhere, just different fonts, different, especially the website, it's like.
Well, there's different usages of our logo. A lot of towns and stuff don't want their logo placed on like a busy background without a certain thing placed in because it draws away, stuff like that. So maybe if we do, so. Moving forward for next time, would you like me to kind of maybe find where we're at now and then propose the changes and see in that standard for next week?
Sure.
Next
Yeah.
month?
I think that's the way to do it.
In addition to that execution, the last thing I want to go over, I'm so sorry.
This is really all about you.
I know,
Yeah, no.
making it all about me.
No, it is.
But if you're saying, it's funny, yeah, well, people are.
To execute these things, so on all the time you want.
Well, oh. To that point, I would like to increase consistent communication with our businesses. So I provided an example, I would like to send an email out, almost a business bulletin newsletter, on behalf of both the BPC and the town of Georgetown, for myself. Just with reminders, but then also maybe any updated changes, new businesses, stuff like that to business owners. So that if we have anything pressing, we can send it to them. This one, I would like to send out on Friday. You know, changes as far as the annual report is in here. There is a business highlight, so we'll be highlighting a business every time, stuff like that. Any ideas on that? Is that okay to do? What? any additions for this coming month that we would like to send out.
So you're gonna send it out monthly or
Yes,
weekly?
the Friday after the VPC meeting,
Okay.
so that if there's anything we need in preparation for the next one.
You're gonna have to post one in the library
Okay.
or somewhere.
Post office.
We have
Post office.
official places that
Yeah,
we should
where-
be consistent with,
Yeah, just post them because people will probably read.
Deal.
and online.
Yeah, the town has its own bulletin board in the post office, so you have that real estate. It's very competitive at the library, so I would suggest that you speak to Libby Kaplan about reserving a spot that is just for the town. You know, a frame or something, and that is just your spot, because it's highly competitive and things get hit. As they get pinned over all the time. So I would encourage you to advocate for your own space, defend that space. Okay,
Okay, for real, my last point now, I'm so sorry. Is an idea for a merchant survey. I, in particular, would like to see where people are feeling we're meeting them at important days. Inclusive of this, though, is questions like, you know, how interested would you be if we did provide these opportunities, but then also, where are you at now? Have you attended the BPC meetings, stuff like that, so that we can see, where that involvement might, or where we can entice some people to be more involved. But then also, how much communication do they wanna see from us in addition to these meetings?
We have like an open-ended question at the end, so they can just like, instead of a multiple choice, they can kind of like write their feeling, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Comments, opinions.
Yeah, anything we didn't cover, anything that you would like to know about like other businesses, I'm sure that's probably, I think that like. The business community is tight knit enough that probably like communicating, but it might be beneficial for us to kind of get some stats on businesses to be able to share with other businesses, that might be something that people are interested in.
Yeah.
Make sure you put our mission on there because people confuse us with parks and. Or their personal, apartment building and what they're doing there or something, and they think that we have some control over it and. Town doesn't either, so.
Just initially BPC, so that everyone knows, because we assume everyone knows our language.
Yeah.
Then
I would go to that thing.
yeah. Yeah, and I think sharing like, what other people are doing, like this year. The museum has an initiative to reach out to the young adults 18 to 25, so when you brought that up, I was like, wow, yeah. And so, and I'm hoping to launch our first app this year. And that is because I'm focusing on that audience. Not to neglect other audiences, this is just a new push for this particular demographic for us. But it'd be good for other businesses to know that you might be seeing
Yeah,
some result from my efforts in your own business. So,
people are targeting like older
Yeah.
audiences, and then all of a sudden the town is trying to target a younger audience, you might have to change the products that you offer
Yeah,
or
or-
how you're advertising,
right.
whatever, so.
Yeah. And this also gives people a chance to, if they don't wanna participate, they tell you so. And so I think that's good to know where people are. Not everybody wants to be, helped. We're here to help, but you don't have to be helped.
how are you gonna display this?
So,
So I was going to do an anonymous survey, through the link. And send it in the.
I would give people an option to be anonymous or no. I would do both at the same time.
Can we also drop some paper copies off? I
Yeah.
found that the online approach is not fantastic for reaching all of the people
Yeah,
in this
I agree.
town.
To that point also, I am, as a part of this campaign proposal, I would like to do some sort of kickoff so that we can. Acknowledge the changes in the marketing consistency, if we want to do things like. Eventually, I envision having, the logo and windows and things like that, and distributing types of materials for our businesses to use. Some sort of opportunity for education. I'm not expecting any business owner just to jump in, dive in, believe that this is the right investment to make as far as their time goes. And so that is something that I'm kind of keeping on my radar as well as maybe some, and hoping to get more feedback from them on this as far as who would be willing to participate in those educational opportunities and who would benefit from them.
Oh, could we also have a question on if people are interested in doing like packages with other businesses? Because I think getting like a hotel stay that includes a dinner, that includes a gift card to the coffee shop or like something along those lines could help. People don't wanna like spend their week planning for a 2-day trip. So we can say, we've got this whole package, it's all set up, you buy this and your kind of week is planned for you, we have the itinerary, it's all done. I think that that would be interesting for people that are just trying to like detach and like disassociate from work in Denver and whatever, and they can just pay $500 and get up here and have it all done.
Do you have any current itineraries?
This, right?
Bill?
No, because
I know we've been talking about it for years.
Yeah.
I
Decades,
know that,
decades.
but
It's
it's
okay, it's,
fresh,
but no,
but
not
it's
yet, but I,
refreshing to hear.
it's so
from-
nice not to
Yes,
know, right? It's
exactly.
like-
What people need, because they come in, they say, tell me what to do with my day.
Yeah.
I've got 24 hours, what do I do?
And it helps them know who's open, because if somebody's participating, they're gonna be open, instead of people like feeling their way through and,
So,
you know, what do I do, where do I?
every time I've ever in the past, and also the difficulties with other things, but every time I've ever approached people in the past, when I do it, it comes out as, are you a nonprofit begging me? You know, like even when I was trying to build, we'll do a music program and then maybe have maybe work and workspace, which is going away, but have a workspace, then you rent, you have your hotel, then we do something with that. So, no, but I forgot her name, she was here last time, with,
The Georgetown Lodge.
Lodge, totally into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that we could get the other hotels completely involved because there's new energy going on here. Thank you. So my company will do it. I know Kevin will do it. We are already starting to do some stuff like plein air. We're gonna do something with his group. I know some of the restaurants are totally open to
So you
it.
can collaborate.
We
with-
can all collaborate. I'm happy to be on that committee. I think we should do a subcommittee for that. And then, and if you brought it up, you have to be on it. And then,
I want to have a way to showcase Georgetown, you know, for people to come in or, for people to come in and say, hey, what can I do? You know, I wanna be locked and loaded, ready to give them 20 different opportunities, like, if you're this type of person, go do this.
Based
If
on the
you're-
pillars?
Yeah, based on pillars, yes, and be able to, you know, book out, like, we should be able to have a solid 48-hour stay where it's like everything you do, you're gonna wanna come back next year and do it again,
Yeah,
or next month, or whatever it
and we
is.
could target like different audiences. Some people won't be able to do as much of the active stuff, so we could have like a historic kind of like, you get a pass to each museum and you get a dinner and you get a night's stay, and then we could have a more active one where it's like you get a rental and you get coffee in the morning and you get a stay and you get a lunch, and like just something along. Each kind of person that comes to visit us could have a package deal, and they click on it on our town website and it gives them everything they need. If you print it out, you bring it with you and you're like, I mean, maybe you don't print it out, we're targeting the online audience, but like.
Having a resource where it's like, if you're visiting us on the weekdays, these are the things that are available and open, if you're visiting on the weekends. If you're visiting in the summer versus the winter, just really simple stuff where every business owner, you know, even if I had employees, they could stand behind there and be like, I know to a T exactly what to tell you to do.
Mhm.
And I know it's gonna be available and open and ready to go.
Yeah.
Which is a big ask, I know, but
well, it's challenging with that, but that doesn't matter.
we'll get there.
There's no such thing as a problem, only opportunities, but the, it can be run, firstly, CTO is putting out a thing with itinerary building and they're on their website.
Colorado Tourism Office.
Colorado's Tourism Office, I'm sorry to use jargon, and then, and that's like the new rollout this year. The other thing is that it might work best with coupon codes, but that's where we need to get the businesses involved with each other. Because I thought when I first started thinking about this, the visitor center, I thought maybe we could do this in-house, and I am not going to be the booking agent, because here's the problem. One person drops the ball, you're the one, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's just basically like any, we all know what it is, any good hotel you go to and they have slow days during the week and they're like. Honeymoon special, champagne and go to the winery and then get, you know, that's all it is. Very exciting.
To that point, there is some business owners in town that are interested in creating a coupon book. Or like welcome packages and stuff like that, so I definitely think that there's.
Do you know about the house quarter?
I do know that.
Okay,
Bless.
that's
The
beautiful.
$4,000 one?
Is it still active?
No,
It was a sweet.
Well, that was a fault of execution.
I have one on my desk. You want one?
I'm sure you got more.
It's right locked.
But just because something was not successful in the past, there were reasons for that or others, and to bring that back.
are you saying personality related?
No, but yeah, you're right. There's no reason to say we tried that and failed and then never try again, because it might be something that, also the world's changed.
Exactly.
Well, and we can soft launch things, you know, with social media now, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a big buy-in, we make one social media post that you scroll through. Like the 10 different things that are available in Georgetown and, you know, show the merchant this for 10% off.
Yeah.
And
And it doesn't have to be a
costs
package
nothing,
deal,
except for
if I
the-
stumble into Georgetown and I see, oh, do this and this. Who cares what the deal is, I'm still gonna do this and this, oh, I'm gonna go to this place for lunch, I'm gonna go to this place because it looks like a cute shop, you know, I can grab coffee over here and I'm gonna stay over here. And I don't need the 10% off, you know, it's like, whatever,
Yeah,
I'll just
I
do
think
whatever,
the
I'll do it on my own.
The big
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
because even as someone who lives here, it's difficult to figure out kind of like what's going on and like what you should be doing, so I think that like. The town has like, we can draw people because we're close, like our vicinity to Denver. People come here, but I think that there is something lost in. What do I do once I'm here? Like, there is this much street that I could walk on. Sometimes things are closed and you're walking on the street and you're like, is this still a ghost town? Like, what is going on here? But if we give them a list of like, check out this place and then head over here and go do this, like that helps people stay longer and then eat food here and go, you know what, I did wanna buy that ornament, let me go back to that shop and those kinds of things. So I think that it's just getting an itinerary in general, even if you don't give a discount, we can just like highlight.
People would pay extra.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
this is,
to-
like,
yeah.
people are like so burnt out, they don't wanna have to think about it, so we just have to give them what they need to do, like. Drive up here at this time, come get breakfast, come do this, and like you give them what to do and they're just gonna follow it, especially if it's Instagrammable, if they can take pictures at every
Yeah.
spot and like. Get their cute Hallmark town thing, when my friend came up, I was like, alright, calm down, we don't need to take a picture of everything, but like if you give them those, like, take a picture here, you'll get this spot, like. Those ideas, like, they will come, they just don't wanna have to think about it and plan it and like be that involved in a day trip or weekend trip.
Well, they also wanna know that things are open, which is.
Right, I was gonna say, like, managing the expectations, just telling people when to drive, like, do not drive here.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you're gonna arrive before 10 AM, you know, that's the number one thing, people come in before 10 AM and they're like, is anything ever gonna open?
Wait a minute, they can come here, give them coffee on the pastry.
Coffee, and, you know, we'll talk your ear off for 3 hours, give them a good time, we'll give them a good time, but. Yes, letting people know, like, hey, you don't even have to get up early,
Yeah,
just drive up, meander up, have a nice afternoon. We're here
But
to
the
show you
fact
the
that
time.
you are consistently open at 7 AM and consistently open at 7 AM and not that I send them to your restaurant and then you're closed because you decided you didn't wanna wake up today.
yeah.
It's important for us,
It's,
yeah.
no, that is actually, that is, in all honesty, that is a huge selling point, and I don't think enough people know that you're open at 7 AM, and I don't think we should tell people to come here at 10, I think we should say, get a coffee, go for a hike, come back and shop.
True, true,
You know,
yes, yeah, but
Because
just
the
even just
fact-
waiting out for them,
yeah,
yeah.
but the, you know, because then also, you know, you might, you know, well, it's already up.
Really? Emily, do you have anything else?
Anyway, sorry.
No, sir.
Awesome, let's move forward. Georgetown Visitors Map. Any updates there?
Okay, I'm gonna go back to campaign, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
My proposal would be that we update the map. In line as we update campaign, so every quarter we reevaluate campaign, so I would reevaluate map as well at that time. One, to fall in line with events, so we can include things like events happening, maybe itinerary ideas, stuff like that. But two, to make sure that messaging is consistent.
Good.
So if we have a focus, you know, if we're focusing on tradition or something like that. We can kind of hone that imagery and the focus of. Reasons for people to come back
Yes.
in consistency with campaign messaging.
So with that map, are you taking that on and changing? Cause I have that map, we have it,
We're talking that cartoonish.
the cartoonish one, yes. But the one that we have is the one that goes around, we give out thousands of.
It should be a
Nice and
cartoonish
better,
one.
it'd be nice and better.
But think about it in the terms of the seasonal piece, which also then allows us to update it as.
Yeah.
Places change or whatever, and our colors and all that, I really like that concept of keeping it current. Plus, it's so much easier now than it was, whatever, 10, 15 years ago when it was created and.
We also have that digital map, well, the one that I have is like 40 years old, right, and
Yeah.
I've just shifted a little bit, but then we also have the digital map that you pay for, that I haven't touched in 8 months, and I thought that it was, I turned it over. And so you can put coupons on there, so.
Well, and there is sponsorship opportunity there if, we ever did want to look into that avenue as far as advertising for local businesses. Do you know what the usage is on that digital map as far as,
Why don't we talk offline?
let's do that.
That map, the way it's just gonna be propose or think about maybe changing the whole aesthetic. I mean, the cartoon is kind of played out in every other town, and I think we have an opportunity being historic and whatnot to maybe come up with a different style, but.
Could be a
I- I-
historic cartoon.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're sketchy versus like, bubbly, exactly. So it's like maybe like more of a drafting of.
It's a concept she'll work on.
Okay.
But let's give her the opportunity to.
Okay, good, all right.
Isn't that?
Have a design.
That cartoon maps.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring one that I had.
Yeah, but I think we're also looking, we have a local resident who's a character drawer who
Yeah.
has done stuff similar to that now.
Cause I think one reason they go on, you see some businesses are done is because they're done for hotels and stuff, and each business pays for the map to be on there and positioned correctly.
Yeah.
That's why they're like that, but if we have somebody doing it in-house, it's even better, right? That's what you're saying.
Or something like make a map like this,
Yeah.
There's our font standards right there.
Stay tuned for next month.
Yes, so I will come back with
Perfect.
more information.
Okay, Archway project update, so that'll be on me. Right now, the fabricator and also is gonna draft the actual engineer drawings. It was, and I'll follow back up with him, but just the other day was still waiting for his proposal to be signed by admin. And so I'll follow up and see if there's any more hangups on that, but I was told that was gonna be done. After this, came back from his vacation, and I think that was supposed to be this week, so.
He's back.
Yeah, alright, so I'll chase him down and see where we go with that. He is going to come up with a design for the Parks and Rec for, similar. Architectural design that's gonna match the archway that they already have proposed. But he's also gonna design it or draw it, draft it to. Utilize materials that are off the shelf, one of which he is afraid that the beam or top beam is maximum if we do an actual beam that's manufactured. It's 36 inches tall, that might be too narrow for the,
For the big.
weight of it. So if it is, we'll have to look at what the upcharge would be to fabricate, a beam using plate steel. So hopefully by the next time we meet, we will have actual drawings. So that's updated.
So to me, this is an opportunity to showcase civic improvement during the 150th anniversary of the state of Colorado and the 250th of the United States. So even if we don't get a shovel in the ground this year, announcing this project this year, framing it in that way, I think is a good idea.
So the following steps, once we get these draft drawings, he's gonna come up with an actual quote of what it's gonna cost. And right now, last to ballpark was 120 grand, which is what I kind of expected. And so, I think as fast as we can, I think we can get some on the ground, to tell you the truth. I mean, once we get,
Boy, that
well,
would be
yeah,
great.
that would be amazing, because exactly. And so, I didn't even think about that timing. It would be some time.
And it's just, it's the halo effect of those two occurrences that we could, exploit.
Yeah, but whether the arch is actually. Commission, we get at least the foundations in.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. No matter what we do, I think if we frame it that way.
We still have 350 some odd days left of the year.
That's right.
The year is young.
I know last time we mentioned we were maybe waiting on an additional quote from a Denver company, is any movement? Come on.
No, 'cause I'm waiting for him to come up with the design, and once I get the quote, I will probably just run it as kind of, just to make sure it's not way off base, and then have it. I'm like, you know, leaving hard wants to use this local guy, you know,
Sure.
'cause he's local right here. So far he's been very excellent.
Awesome.
So, but I will definitely, you know, kind of cross reference, just make sure we're not like way off, or maybe this other guy has an idea that could help and, you know.
Or we have to fabricate one beam, have them, well, I don't know if you'd cross.
You know, it depends on, you know, how well if they work together, and, you know, my fabricator down there, that used a lot of CNC, controlled CNC stuff,
Right,
and so there might be some parts that this gentleman doesn't have access, you know.
yeah, they
That
can,
technology, and they can work collaborate in that sense, so for sure. Cool.
Do we, like, in the grouping of like the 150th, do we work with any like Denver news stations outside of when they say that you should leave peep here, to get more exposure throughout the year? Do we know like what they want, what they're willing to advertise, like what would be interesting that we could like get our name in those stations?
I don't know per se that they're always looking for something specific, they're always looking for something unique. I will say, as we're working on more of a consistent communication method and we're doing more press releases, stuff like that. We are including them in our distribution of that. So as those communications are continuing, as things are changing, they are being updated at the same time that we're releasing information to the public.
and they'll pick it up if they wanna release it,
Yeah.
kind of thing, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Visitor Center gets a lot of news,
Yes.
foot traffic, so to speak. And you and Trish handle that extremely well, however, somehow maybe there's a way to engage Anna in that, if all of a sudden they're showing up, even if it's because I-70 is closed, you know, and that's how it's generated. Fox did a tremendous job for us last month because of random, you know, news pieces that they did, but then all of a sudden they were so focused on Georgetown that I think it really benefited us in a
Yeah.
just kind of an offhand way.
They do
So,
like the weather here and stuff, so like if we
Yeah.
could just have someone in the town come in, like while they're doing the weather, like it's a fluff piece, they want more
but that's,
going on there, so if we have someone come in and be like, hey, like Georgetown has this wild weather, if you wanna see it, come also get lunch, like, or even someone from the town to organize, like, oh, this business wants to get on for the next, you know, the next piece that they do here, let us know when you're coming up to do a piece, we'll let that business know, and then they can kind of come out, and you can, you know, we can just use when they're here, use them to our advantage.
Well, they'll cut it, but, they really let you know. We just got ourselves a media relations officer. Or whatever you're, media relations person. So that's just new, so yes, we will contact you when they come up or we find out, if they do let you know, I don't like to be on camera. They'll cut out anything you say that you wanna say, cause every single time I've ever done it, I've promoted everything in town, I promoted whatever, I've only spoken a couple times, I hate speaking. They cut it, they don't care.
but that might
But-
be buried in their news,
But
you know.
But to your point though, we've already had. We even had not Good Morning America, but Today here, and all of that stuff is earned media, so earned media comes from consistency in the rest of this program that you're doing. So once that stuff is all over TikTok, it's all over the place, it's seen, then they come up and they like it, and then we have somebody giving a consistent message to visitor centers that are, you or Trish standing in front of the camera, just trying to make it work. They want the man in the street, but then they also do want someone, like on leave, so this will work. And I'll make sure that we have, everybody knows to call you and we'll get you a text or something.
Can I share a piece of data with you?
Sure.
And this is not, I should be doing groupings, so I'm going to update this for next time. In 2024, we posted a TikTok post, we got 2,000 views. I experimented with some trends that are in line with our campaign, and that the video posted, almost a year later got 67,000 views, so we increased by 65K. So I think as we maintain that consistency on Facebook. We had a jump from like the same timeframe, from almost 1,500 views on a video to 132,502. I will hold on to that 500 weekly. I think that to that point, consistency sells, right? So as we're kind of moving with this campaign and as that data proves itself, we'll kind of be able to see the impact of that for sure. But that was during the Christmas market timeframe. So,
Yeah.
you know, the same event that people may or may not know happens every year, that kind of alludes to the fact that as we continue that consistency and we really adjust our campaign to those things, that media coverage might continue as well, just because that our brand will get in front of marketplaces.
And then TikTok, whatever the replacement's gonna be, as they start rolling out their changes and all the different things that are happening. And then, because your demographics are, you're not trying to get my era, where people older than I, and some people like only 2 years older than I, who are still on Facebook all the time. Rather than the younger demo who are all TikTok, a little bit of meta, but not really fully meta, and it's, and things like that. Like, you have the older millennials who are into Insta.
Still relevant, okay?
Alright, I know, STR discussion. Short-term rental discussion.
I think if, from our minutes, it was kind of left where we were going to reach out to the town attorney for some input on this. And we didn't really have a lot of,
Can we bullet point like things that are important to us? Things that we want to communicate to the Board of Selectmen about this, that the business promotion commission, I always get it wrong, the business promotion commission would value in the short-term rental package rules that we want, or just like things that we want considered. Cause that's what we're doing, right, is we wanna pass to the Board of Selectmen.
but this was the special short-term
Yeah,
rental for,
yeah.
for special events. We still wanted to identify what, in a sense, what those events were, put some limitations on, you know, the.
Hockey, being one,
Right, but again,
Christmas market.
do we wanna see some draft of something similar from other areas? And then tweak that for our purpose? And then that's kind of a direction we would give to staff to bring to us, or the attorney to bring back to us, or, you know, for us to have, and then we can digest it, or are we reinventing the wheel and starting off from scratch?
Well, Leadville has one, right? We take.
I don't think they do.
Oh, no,
Like, they don't.
Oh.
This one's kind of generated from what Boulder is preparing for, and
Yeah.
So
so,
with our discussion, we did have points that I'm sure, I hope those were brought up with the attorney and with.
I don't think there's been any movement from staff, and it hasn't, from when we met. We had a board of selectmen meeting shortly after that, and the board has not met since early December because of the holidays, so we're getting
Yeah.
ready for a meeting next Tuesday. Now, there's nothing that's going to be on the agenda for the board next Tuesday, and I know we weren't trying to put this into place by this February, I, you know, we know that government doesn't work that fast.
So so are you saying that we should just wait on the attorney and then look at it, because all that discussion that we had last month feels. Pointless.
I don't believe, I can't answer for staff, but I don't believe that staff has taken it past our
I
meeting
understand that.
from last month. So we can follow up, I can follow up, how about that? I'll follow up with our town administrator and we'll start the ball rolling.
Yeah, because otherwise it's moot to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Good.
Okay.
thank you.
Uh,
Does that satisfy?
Yes, I'm outside, thank you.
commission member comments.
Wait, I wanna talk about the holiday decorations.
Oh, yeah.
We
Oh, yeah. Good, let's do it.
So just real quick, and I'm sorry that Dennis isn't here, but I can convey whatever our feelings are. Christmas decorations, holiday, winter decorations. And because we have new personnel, not you, but even Road and Bridge type. Last year, there was conversation about how long to keep everything up, especially because of pond hockey coming up in February. Typically in Colorado, everybody keeps the lights on until after, the stock show, which is mid-January, yeah, so that's kind of a no-brainer.
Well,
Yeah, but so, but there was some of the decorations being taken down. I just wanted, I think for us to be able to direct staff, what do we want to see for winter? Because otherwise the streets dry up or, roll up, sidewalks roll up. Do we want everything to stay up through
End of
February?
January.
Last year, I think we talked about keeping certain things up through spring break, just so that we looked alive, you're experiencing it on some days, I'm sure even now, Gary can attest to this. So I guess from that standpoint, we didn't want really the whole Christmas stuff to be old and dry, but we don't want to look dead and closed either, so,
Well, we were looking at the little white lights to put up.
yeah.
yeah.
I think if you have the lights are white, you
In,
can go year round,
replace those.
or if you want to.
The lights would be great,
I don't
maybe
know what that
Christmas
is.
into spring seems. Like we'd be
Yeah.
even deader, like, wow, everybody just left after Christmas.
Sure.
And people out there taking selfies, taking pictures, we still have a historic Main Street that's absolutely lovely.
We are a Christmas town and there were big challenges with leaving the regular lights up. That's a whole different discussion, but. One of the things we discussed was the garlands, at least leaving those up and getting rid of them, but we didn't talk about getting rid of the wreaths, certainly not the tree, because it's looking a little sad now. Let's see it, nobody wants to see a star anymore. If I see another star, I think we'll just jump out of the window, but that's a way to, one of the things we were saying is if you keep all the greenery without necessarily the wreaths with a big bow.
Who runs that tree up there?
Oh, that one, I have no idea.
The floating tree, that's us, so.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, the town helped put it up, so I don't.
Yeah, but I think that's a.
Yeah, just.
I mean, is there a way we can change it, like that color changing where we turn it to white? Cause that can stay.
I was literally thinking about this morning as I was driving up, because. I'm like, okay, we're gonna leave the lights up forever, until we can, and then we'll talk about that other discussion again. We can bring that other discussion back in, and then. But I really was assessing it, and it's the garlands and the spruce. That seem too Christmassy, and the rest of it seems wintry. So going from Christmas decor to winter and,
So the garland on the light posts with the white lights.
Should come
down.
Should come down.
Yeah.
And the stalls at at Strauss Park should come down.
I don't even know about the garland, I mean, it's the bows and the wreaths,
It's the
right?
bows, yeah, the bows and the wreaths.
The bows and the
It's like the garland.
Yeah.
The
Those-
garland can stay,
The
but the white.
garland can
If, are they detachable, are they one thing, or are they two
Two
different?
separate
You
things.
know what really made it work is if you change that and then you found like ski decor or snowflake decor, and then
Yeah.
suddenly.
Yeah, good point.
You went from Christmas to winter, and frankly, I think that's the best decor for that time of year anyway, because it's not specifically religious, but also I don't wanna be. Shot out of town, so I'm not gonna bring that.
So what about the roundabout?
Those lights in the.
White
roundabout,
lights, yeah.
Yeah, you get the white lights.
I would rather see, I
But the-
would rather see white lights on all the spruce trees that
Mhm.
that are in the roundabout. It's white lights.
I mean, we just change our standard to white lights, period, and we don't have to.
Yeah.
Except other tree,
What's
one
one
tree,
tree?
Yeah.
What's up?
stick to one tree,
The one up the hill? Oh, that, yeah, for sure. No, that one should be, yeah,
that'd be covered.
yeah, agree.
White lights and garlands on the light
Right.
posts on Argentine, right? And I think those are important to stay, because when you drive past, you see them, otherwise you don't really, you could miss, yeah.
You need to
So-
be visible from a highway.
Yeah, and we have to have lights to create that visibility, so that when you're passing by, when you're coming down from skiing, and it's 5 o'clock and you're stuck in traffic sitting next to Georgetown, you see those lights and you're like, oh, that's cute, that looks nice. So I think that's like our showcase. Argentine Street is like how we present ourselves to the fantastic vibe. So I think those need to stay.
Are we allowed to do that though, to have the lights up all year, white lights on the roundabout, because of white, dark sky?
There's,
We're not actually certified.
there's an approach
You know, or-
being made to put some additional lights downtown.
Yeah.
But that's separate from this. So
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get a handle based on last year's winter activities,
you talked about.
how long, and so that Dennis can follow up with staff. So I'm hearing that the wreaths and bows, but this would be probably even after the stock show starts.
I think that's
Okay.
what we did last time, was the end of the stock show, the wreaths of the.
The
bows
wreaths
came
and the
down.
bows come down, the Strauss Park decorations come down.
You can leave Strauss Park, because you have garland, right, along the edge.
There's,
Just the tree.
Okay, so the tree comes down.
no, tree, you undecorate the tree, don't take the
Now,
tree
the-
down.
But, but the garland on the street lights are staying up at least through, and if we can get snowflakes, at least through pond hockey, or
Yeah.
are we talking
Yeah.
through spring break?
I think it's spring break, but I also think that, until the light changes,
What's spring break, March?
until the light changes, and it started here.
I think end of March for like Garland and then,
It's a positive snowflake, just garland. Because you don't want it to turn on lobby.
Well, what if we coordinated with the start of the train again? The train is starting the last week of March, last I heard. Or they're shooting for that, so we don't want people who like came to the train during Christmas to come back and it's still
That's
Christmas.
still- Yeah.
So it needs to transition by the time the train starts again.
Yeah.
So that would pretty
I
much
think
be
that's-
when
yeah.
spring breaks are done,
Yes.
kind of thing.
I think there's no interest anymore, it's just.
ChatGPT said mountain towns. Many alpine ski and historic towns intentionally leave their lights up longer. Late January to February is common.
Yeah, I think.
So-
we should mark-
Don't be by car.
Some leave white or warm lights up all year, or at least all winter. So,
Alright, so we're at least staying up through, so we're at least staying up through stock show and through pond hockey, which will have, if we need to touch base on this conversation again at the first meeting in February, if we wanna talk about longer, we've got time to do that. I just don't want the town to take stuff down and then everyone is like, oh my God, Georgetown is dark, so.
Cause green garland's my lights on strips, right?
okay, best practice.
We've got new people, you know, on staff that are responsible for this, so I just want the message to be clear to them.
And then no one tells Steve that we should revisit that other
Alright,
conversation.
this is nailed it for us, I don't just this.
He's Googled everything.
Yeah, okay, standard practice. Or best practice is remove overly Christmas decor, red. Wreaths, Santa elements by mid-January, leave warm white lights up through the winter. Rebrand message lighting is winter lights, alpine glow, historic winter illumination.
Guys, we nailed it. Okay.
Alpine glow.
I like that.
Thank you.
Well done.
How many Christmas lights, the tree wasn't lit on Christmas Day. So I think that it should have been, and I think that we should make a note of that for next year, because it was a little sad to come into town and the tree
I
wasn't
can't
lit.
leave town for Christmas, okay? I'll be here next year, maybe that year.
To that same point, I've had a lot of people complaining midday that all public restrooms are locked in town. What is the schedule on those?
Go ahead.
They were closed, because we have someone that's kind of staying in there, like
I
overnight.
think in jail. I
So
saw the
that's
police pick
why
her
they
up.
got it, because she would just trash
There was
outside.
damage being done.
Yeah.
Okay, so all public restrooms are just locked because of that?
No, so it's my understanding that the Strauss Park restrooms were locked down, however, there's been some conversation at higher levels of redirecting people to the other public restrooms, being town hall, being the community center, the visitor center, even though that's a little bit off the beaten path kind of thing.
Yeah,
I know there was some concern because there was some direction to use the local businesses for restaurants. Yours was probably one of them. And that's, you know,
we are the public restroom right now.
Right.
right, yeah.
Sure.
which is making it difficult for our actual customers to use the restroom.
Yeah, it should not be heaped on the business
businesses.
operators.
It would be nice, I would even be happy to go like volunteer time to keep them nice. Just having extra bathrooms would be really helpful, because guests come in
Yeah.
and feel pressured to buy something, to use a restroom,
Well, there's nothing wrong
or
with that.
end up just leaving because there's no restrooms, they have children and like.
Agreed,
I don't have changing people or anything like that.
right.
It's been a very frequent point of conversation.
I'll share this concern with Dennis.
And those
We should
restaurants,
definitely find strategies to keep it
Right.
open.
but this building is not being, is it?
No, this
being kept
building
up
is
in the
open.
Weekends?
This building is open. It
Yeah,
is-
So-
I volunteered to help with that, so except now we're closed until March, but through December,
That's good.
on the weekends, I opened and closed the bathrooms in this building on Saturday and Sunday.
Could we, there was a nice sign made
So
during
that-
Christmas market for public restrooms.
Mhm.
Could that sign be still
Please.
posted right outside here on the
Please.
sidewalk
Yes, please.
during the week and during the
Yeah.
weekend, so that people,
You cannot read
That
the
one,
visual sign at any
I might
distance.
have to reprint
No,
it.
yeah, I
Might
could
be
do it.
a little
I don't
bit.
have to.
okay,
Please.
and follow up with Dennis too.
But if we think about the visitor experience, this is.
That is restaurant.
No, I know that.
Commission member comment. Was that your comment?
Well, no, I'm done.
Okay.
No, all of this, all of
Anyone else say any comments? Commission member comments? One, three.
I
All right.
want to start working on, some kind of development in the town to promote remote workers moving here.
Yeah.
I think that they are often dinks with a lot of money to spend. I work remote, my boyfriend works remote, a lot of our friends in town work remote. It's kind of the only way to be young and here.
Yeah.
And I think that we all love this town. Like, if you moved here, it's because you love it here and you wanna spend money here and you wanna support businesses here. And I think that we should try to target that group of people to move here. I think I have a couple points of things that I think the town would need to kind of do to have those people want to move here. So I can put together like a little bit of a deck on that so that we can discuss it. But can that be on like maybe next month's agenda?
Yes, and that's an awesome point. When I moved here in 2018, there was an influx of not necessarily remote workers, but people who discovered that they can commute to Denver as well.
Yeah.
You know, et cetera. And so one thing I did preach is all prior pandemic, you know, and one thing I preached, and I know it sounds harsh, but when cars actually can drive themselves down the freeway, which will happen soon. I think exurbs such as us, communities will be sought after, because you can log in work time, you know, while you're on the road, that 45 minutes. My wife and I commute almost every single day. When we actually get to stay up here, we try to get the Fridays, that's like a vacation for us, but we commute all the time, we don't mind it. When we have residents down in Denver that I used twice last year, so. But yes, I wholeheartedly agree with some sort of branding and marketing, because I think awareness. The brewery was what really brought that awareness back in that time. The brewery opened up and people were coming here, stopping from Heights and stuff, oh my God, I never thought about who just live here. You know, when they just Google how driving down to Denver is only 45 minutes, you know, or if they're in Golden. So yes, that is awesome.
I have a question.
That's,
We are not an economic development organization. We have one for the county. We have Clear Creek County Economic Development. We are a business promotions commission. Is that in keeping with our mission?
yes, this brings people here to actually promote the businesses that, you know, not every business is a tourist-driven business.
I think it would be more weekday, like business, because like it's harder to get people up here
Yeah.
during the week, but I think that if you have people who want their life to be a vacation, which is like why you sit up here and work remotely from here, then you're promoting the businesses that are open during the week. I also think that there's a potential for the town supporting someone in opening a like remote workspace or something along those lines of creating another business opportunity for someone.
So
I
let's hear that
just
next month.
closing a
But let's-
remote workspace
but let's
that's been
hear-
there for 10 years.
Let's hear the presentation next month when
Right.
it's, when the whole thing, and it's something that DPC perhaps can recommend to the economic.
Yeah.
Development facility.
And something we can also look at in our mission and whatnot, I sit on the visitor center board of Arvada. And part of our mission statement is to help get people move to Arvada.
But do we have a glut of housing that we're trying to fill? Last I heard, we had a housing crisis of not enough affordable housing in this town.
Let's not start on that, please.
Yeah, all right.
Seriously, we're trying to get people to move up here, but we have enough.
I,
housing.
I hear you, but let's.
There's a lot of houses on the market right now.
Yeah, that's still market, but also maybe they're overpriced.
But we're
Sure.
looking at people's income that's in the, two people, $180,000
Wow.
for 2 remote workers, like, that's pretty standard, I think, for remote workers who can move to an area like this.
Anyway, I think that we'll talk about it next month, but I think.
All right, moving on.
Work for economic.
Staff update. we
Wait,
have one
wait,
second.
wait, you need to go around the room and get the,
Oh, the comments?
yeah.
Oh, I
I
offered
don't
to do
know
those.
if Mariah has anything and Paul has anything.
I will say as somebody who owns a business where remote workers like to hang out, it doesn't promote other people to want to hang out in my business when there's like 3 different people on video chats.
Mhm.
They order 1 drip coffee, refill it all day, blow up the bathroom twice, like, that's the reality of a remote worker in my business.
Yeah.
So it doesn't promote my business, but maybe hopefully when they leave, they spend more money elsewhere.
Well,
And in a
I
lot of ways, it's just a place for them to be that makes tourists feel like they can't use the space.
But any
So-
other topics?
No,
I'm not trying to cut you off and I'm
No,
not
no,
trying to do
totally.
Mike's job.
totally.
We're gonna start hearing
We gotta-
sound.
we gotta go.
Any comments?
Oh, yeah.
Kevin?
You do about that. No, I'm toasting at this point. In fact, I guess I have a question, not a comment. When does my term end? Is this my last meeting or is it in February?
We'll check into that and
Okay,
get back to you on
Okay.
that.
all right, thank you, because I'm.
'Cause there may be a couple other members that are up for reappointment.
Okay, all right, but happy to be here. I'll continue to deal with that. That's it.
Okay,
No, nothing.
awesome. And we'll move on to staff update, staff.
What do I have anything in addition? I had nothing about handles.
Has the town formally introduced you to the community?
We are working on.
Okay, good, that needs to happen.
And that's part of what I would like to do with kind of that mixer thing is get more acquainted with people and, but I don't want to show up with nothing to show them.
Sure. And Italy, I'll tell you, the last couple that we had that attended were attended. People, business owners really, and some of them wanted to express frustrations or just at least, it's just great. That's fine because it gives them a platform. So I would go full speed ahead to push in an
Okay.
agenda for mixture of some sort.
Okay.
We did it at the old school before and it was very successful there.
But we need to make it very clear that we're limiting it to business operators.
Yeah.
And not the general public.
And then we can have one with the general public.
So maybe do one more campaign focused and more of like a meet.
I don't wanna go through what we went through last time. That was horrible.
But it allowed them
Those 2 people came in there and then they started heckling and those people, and then they were high anyway, and then, no.
Well, you ask them to leave.
It's true.
I'll ask them to leave. This isn't appropriate, this isn't the platform.
I
Yes,
literally
that's really-
On the
he
board
says
now.
we should.
I literally said,
See, let's do. All right,
I
I
literally said that it was inappropriate.
To adjourn,
I second.
It's promotion.
Two discussions. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. We made it before the air horns, hooray.
Oh, yeah, it's a business promotions commission, not a.
I'm sorry.